Why the battle stops when Peter arrives. Why Deadpool not coming to Marvel 616. How anchor being concept makes sense. The movie Deadpool and Wolverine is currently heading towards $1 billion, and it deserves to. Watching this movie was an absolute blast. The kind of thrill I haven't felt with a superhero movie in a long time. But this video isn't about the fun in Deadpool and Wolverine. Today's topic is about what's missing in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, i.e., we will discuss plot holes, MCU touches, and failed concepts in the movie. However, let me make it clear that despite discussing all this, I will still tell you why this movie is fantastic and how these plot holes, MCU touches, and failed concepts make sense on their own. So friends, today we're going to talk about what was missing in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. Let's start. In my opinion, Deadpool and Wolverine is the best Deadpool movie, but there is no doubt that many people noticed plot holes in the movie that weren't explained much. Let's jump straight to these plot holes, and let me first tell you that most of these plot holes are related to time traveling. Wolverine's backstory. The main motive of any movie should be to focus more on showing what is happening or has happened, rather than just telling. But throughout the movie, we were only told about Wolverine's backstory, and even then, it wasn't very clear. It was told in the movie that this Logan is the worst Wolverine in the entire multiverse because one day, he went to get drunk after leaving the X-Mansion, and on that day, humans killed all the X-Men. In the end, Logan was the only X-Man left. Here, no one mentioned Sentinels, government, or Stryker. It was just the humans being mentioned. In another scene, Wolverine tells Cassandra that he killed so many people that it became the reason why humans hate the X-Men. This is also why the bartender was asking Wolverine to leave at the start of the movie. First, Wolverine was upset that humans killed the X-Men, and then he tells Cassandra that it bothers him more that people hate mutants because of him. But there was not even a slight flashback shown to us. We were literally shown a montage of several Wolverine variants, but not given even 10 to 15 seconds for this Wolverine's backstory. The entire universe is resting on the survival of one person. The concept of anchor being appeared a bit odd here. The whole universe is surviving because of the existence of just one being. I have already told you that this concept is borrowed from Marvel Comics' Secret Wars storyline. Even the explanation for this concept happens in Secret Wars issue 5, the comic that we see next to Deadpool in the Void. In the comics, a molecule man was placed in every universe, whose death would result in the death of that universe, and killing all the molecule men would mean the destruction of the multiverse. So, technically in the comics, Molecule Man is the anchor being. The current version of Molecule Man is nearly omnipotent, so he can't be killed easily. But in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, Deadpool's timeline, Earth 1005, has Logan as its anchor being, who died in 2029, and therefore, his timeline is decaying. However, Logan still lived for a very long time. What about the timeline where a human is the anchor being? If we consider that humans live for about 100 years, then what was happening in the timeline before that human was born? And after that 100-year lifespan, will the timeline start decaying? This doesn't make much sense. Although, we might be looking at the anchor being concept incorrectly. I will explain more about it later. There is no sense of what is happening in the timeline and when. I have told you before that the timeline problem in the X-Men universe is an old issue, and to avoid this, the director of the Logan movie clearly said that the events of Logan are happening in the future, i.e., in 2029, and in a separate timeline, which makes sense because in this timeline it was stated that no mutant has been born for 25 years. Wolverine is old, Charles Xavier is old, and a few years ago, Charles killed 600 people and many X-Men in his telepathic seizure. Now, the events of Deadpool and Wolverine are happening in 2024, and it's also said that in the future, i.e., in 2029, the anchor being Wolverine will die, and the universe will start decaying. Plus, even if we accept for a moment that the Deadpool timeline and Logan timeline are the same, at the end of the movie, Deadpool brings the new Wolverine with him to 2024, when Deadpool's timeline's Logan is still alive. That means there are two Logans in this universe now. Now, along with time traveling, there is dimension traveling. At the end of Deadpool 2, Deadpool uses Cable's time-traveling device to go back in time and save Vanessa. But at the beginning of Deadpool and Wolverine, he uses this device to travel to Marvel Cinematic Universe's 2018. Deadpool didn't just time travel here. He went to a completely different timeline, which is not possible. Plus, Why did he specifically go to the Avengers timeline, i.e., Earth 616? Was he informed about the Avengers? Lastly, I want to talk about Peter. This isn't even a plot hole, it's senseless writing. Without any establishment, it was shown in the movie that the Deadpool Corps stopped attacking Deadpool and Wolverine because Peter arrived. Why? Because every Deadpool has a Peter whom they respect? I haven't seen a weirder plot armor that doesn't make any sense. Now that we've discussed the shortcomings of the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, let's take a look at these shortcomings from a different perspective. Deadpool and Wolverine is not a Fox Marvel movie or a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. It's a massive meta-commentary brought to us by a character who regularly breaks the fourth wall. Here, movie rules aren't being followed. So why should we expect to see multiverse, time travel, or continuity rules? This is a huge meta-commentary. Even the anchor being concept, which we have been seriously discussing everywhere, isn't that serious. Deadpool and Wolverine's timeline was literally decaying since Logan died in 2017. Since then, the downfall of the X-Men universe has begun. Dark Phoenix didn't work, New Mutants didn't work, the only movie that worked was Deadpool's, and Disney wants to transfer this paradox to the Marvel Cinematic Universe because nothing else is profitable. Even other superheroes shown in The Void said the same thing, that they were pruned without being given a proper ending. Being pruned literally means being cancelled. Take Wesley Snipes' Blade series, Ben Affleck's Daredevil movies, Jennifer Garner's Elektra, and even the Fantastic Four movies. All these stories didn't progress because the studio canceled them due to poor box office performance. So the paradox here is Disney, which wants to bring the only profitable character, Deadpool, into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, while the X-Men universe, which has been literally decaying since Logan's death, is being left behind. But Deadpool is not as sellable as people think he is. He won't just go to another timeline without his friends. Plus, he wants to save his timeline, which he did by making Deadpool and Wolverine a hit and bringing Wolverine into his timeline. So the anchor being is that profitable character whose death causes the cinematic universe to start falling apart. Now, you tell me who was the anchor being of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Marvel Studios is bringing him back. Talking about timelines, the paradox wants to ruin Deadpool's timeline with the Time Reaper, the entire Fox Marvel universe, many elements of which have already been pruned, including the old Elektra, the old Punisher, the old Daredevil, and the legendary Blade. Though Blade wasn't even part of the Fox Marvel universe, he belonged to New Line Cinema. So here, the timelines aren't being considered. The characters that don't work are being pruned. Their universe is no longer popular and is decaying. Deadpool made a joke out of Logan's death to bring in the new Wolverine. Throughout the movie, Deadpool kept doing things that the audience didn't expect, and that's what makes this story better. Bringing in a new Wolverine with a different backstory so that he feels proud of wearing his super suit. What could be better than that? Talking about Peter, there is no explanation for why the Deadpool Corps stopped when Peter arrived. The movie mentions that every Deadpool has a Peter, and there's only one theory for this. In the comics, Deadpool only listened to one Peter, and that's Peter Parker. There's also a Peter in the X-Men, Peter Wisdom. The Peter in the Deadpool movies is a combination of these two Peters, and I believe that's why all the Deadpools stopped when they saw Peter, though it still doesn't make much sense. Lastly, let's talk about how Deadpool used Cable's time-traveling device to come to Earth 616. Deadpool had already done dimension traveling. He used Cable's device to travel in time, and then he got a time-traveling device, probably from Kong the Conqueror. That's why we shouldn't take this movie too seriously. It's better to just enjoy it. As I said, Deadpool and Wolverine was a very fun movie, but for me, it was the best Deadpool movie, despite the plot holes. What did you think of Deadpool and Wolverine? What do you think of these plot holes? Let me know in the comments. Like and share the video and subscribe to the channel for more fun content. To learn about the 10 revealed movies, watch the video above, and for the hidden details of Deadpool and Wolverine, watch the video below. I'll bring a new video soon.